Hi, I'm Michael Giblin with fiddlershop.com, and thank you so much for taking part in the Fiddler Shop Game of Thrones group project. Now, this is a tutorial on the third violin part. As with inner voices are incredibly important, and we need them, even though it's a little bit more of a simple part, and you don't really get the melody of that part. We still need you. You're still incredibly important. One of the biggest challenges of the third violin part is you really have to count. The biggest temptation to get started right away are these dotted half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. The temptation is, I guarantee you, is always going to play these as quarter notes, and then you're going to end up being a measure ahead of everybody, and it's not going to make any sense. So really, I really want to caution you right off the bat, really make sure you watch out for these dotted half notes. I'm going to put the metronome on the click track that you're going to be recording this with. The 8th note basically is at 175. I'm going to put it at that for a little bit. I apologize, this might not be pleasant to listen to. But here's how we're going to get started, right? So the other thing, actually before I do that, I just also want to stress is that even as an inner voice, dynamics really matter. So let's really try to watch out for, I've actually gone in order. I wasn't planning that, but rhythm, dynamics, notes. Those are kind of, that's my hierarchy that applies to anything we're learning. Rhythm, dynamics, notes, okay? So let's get started off. So this is the 8th note, so I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, so that's all pretty simple. The things I would make sure you watch out for is that at the end of measure 4, that is B flat. So, and then again at the end of measure 6, this is A flat. And these measures where you have the 8th notes are a nice chance that you can kind of rise up a little bit, because these half notes and even quarter notes are not really that interesting. We always have to be listening for the people that have those 16th notes, those really the smallest denominator, you might say, they're the boss. So even when you're playing in an ensemble, the people with the smallest notes, they're that motor that you just have to be really tuned into and really listening to hear it. Make sure you can always hear that. Dun, dun, da, da, dun, dun. If you're playing a Beethoven quartet, the people that have the those are the people you always have. They're the boss. You have to go with them. So don't mess up the motor that's running like that. But when you get to measures like these 4th beats where you have, that's a kind of a chance to tell the other people in the quartet, like, hey, I'm in this too. Like, listen, I'm part of this too, and your part matters. So when you have these, that's an interesting thing. Bring that out. Go ahead. So we're gonna continue. I'm gonna continue without the metronome because it's a little difficult. Let's continue on measure 7. So again, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Not too hard, right? We can do this. This brings up a little bit of an interesting point. Every time you have these quarter notes, because they are quarter notes and it's not just a whole note, it's okay to sort of give it just a little bit of pulse so that we still are part of the group, and we're not just it's not just all just solid. So measure 10, the bowing's going to get a little difficult here. We're going to go 1, 2, the fourth beat, I start this up bow again. Okay, in measure 11, there's a little bit of a, hopefully I've corrected it in the sheet music by the time you're seeing this, but if not, the rhythm should be, there shouldn't be a dot on that low G, it should be on the next C. So I'll play it for you, it goes 3, 4. So again, just sort of that. In measure 12, take another up bow. So essentially turn it into two half notes, two dotted half notes. So 1, 2, because there's a little bit of a crescendo. It's sort of implied. You don't have, it's not necessarily noted. And then 13. So these, this sort of this duple rhythm, it's a little, yes, it's a little technical, that each of these dotted eighth notes equals 3 16th notes, if you want to think about it like that. Like, so every beat is 6 16th notes, 3 eighths notes, 1 dotted quarter note. So technically it's right? If you wanted to break it down and do the math, the easiest thing to do is just be thinking about the big beats. And instead of going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Again, we're the first in measure 13, you'd think 1, 2, 1, and 2, and, or technically 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. Okay, so again, and there should be an accent on every one of those. I think it's missing on the second one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, here the temptation is really going to be to run through that measure 14 and play those as quarter notes. So you really have to be really disciplined, really hold on to that as a half note. 2. Here comes A flat. Here, this is a sort of a sweeping melodic part. Really play this long bows, nice big sounds. Don't just, really be part of the artistry, okay? That's fun. So 1 and 1, da da do, da da dee da da dee da da. Again, 3 and 2, 3. Again, it's very tempting every time, especially after you're playing these 16th notes, to want to play those as quarter notes. I'm going to go back to play that one more time from 15. You can use vibrato if you want, if you're have worked on it before. This is a nice little opportunity just to add a little bit of nice warmth to it. Again, same thing here. A flat. You can be dramatic in these after the end of 22. Give it a good flourish. Music is a very visual art form. Of course, we spend a lot of concern about everything audible, but people also really enjoy the visual aspect of music, and it makes a big difference. So all that to say, when you get to big dramatic moments like this, part of the show is, really selling it. Okay, and then of course we just want to end with a nice down bow. All right, so I think that concludes. Those are the main things that I wanted to point out in preparing the third part. Again, I would practice it with the metronome, because then when you get to the click track is just a glorified metronome, but it will have some extra parts to help you hang on to. And so I think you're gonna be great. If you have any other questions, get in touch with us. I hope that was helpful. We look forward to seeing your part and all combined with everybody else in the big group project. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you at fiddlershop.com.
Fiddlershop.